Good day there viewers, my name is Cliff and welcome to my channel called Vintage Time. In today's episode of Fascinating Gemstones we will be featuring lemon quartz that comes from Madagascar, and also we'll be doing a product review. For all my regular subscribers and viewers, a big hello to all you people out there. I know many of you simply just like to watch my faceting videos, and of course many of you are really good faceters yourselves, and many of you just simply want to learn more about how to cut gemstones. And if this is your first time you've come across my channel, I'm certainly glad that you can join me, and hopefully these videos may inspire you to want to become a really good gem cutter yourself. As you can see in the video, I've bought quite a few pieces of lemon quartz. There's a total of about 800 carats and the quality is quite good, and I didn't pay a lot, about $30 Australian, which included postage. The only thing is that the dealer I bought off over embellished the photos a little bit, and I'll drop those in. So these are the photos that the gem dealer uploaded on the internet, and these gems appear a lot brighter than the ones I have. Clearly they've been oiled up a little bit and the photos have been digitally enhanced possibly, but nonetheless I'm pretty happy with what I received. I thought these gems might have been irradiated, but clearly as you can see now they're a natural colour, and when you go to cut irradiated gems they usually chip very easily. So let's get on to faceting lemon quartz and also talking about a new glue that I'm going to be using. So I've selected a piece of rough lemon quartz that I think will suit the type of design that I'll be cutting. The name of the design is called the Eye of the Sun, and it's one of those eye designs. Now I'll drop in an image, but I can't list all the index numbers for copyright reasons, although you can get this design off the internet as a download. So here's the basic diagram without all the index numbers of what the Eye of the Sun gem looks like. The pavilion looks pretty straightforward, but the crown itself looks like it could be tricky. So the first thing I'm going to do is flatten a surface on the gem so I can glue a dop stick to it. I'm currently just using a 100 grit disc to do this because it doesn't have to be very flash or fancy, just something for glue to adhere to. So I've flattened the surface and then I've placed a dot where roughly the center of the gem is, where all the good material is. The line to the side is unwanted material where there is a slight inclusion, and I'll grind that away later on. So today I'll be using a different type of glue. Normally I use a two-part epoxy glue, however today I'm going to be testing out this Star Bond super glue. Star Bond actually got in contact with me and asked whether I would like to test their glue on gluing gems to dop sticks, and I thought, well, why not? They sent me some free glue, and also in the glue comes with all these little accessories, and also what I've never seen before is an accelerator, because in Australia we just buy little tubes of super glue and then you just simply use that to glue whatever you're going to be working with. So this is very new to me, an accelerator which speeds up the drying of the glue. So I'm all set to go, and I'll be using the same method as I always do. I've got the gem in the transfer jig, I've got my toothpicks ready to apply the glue to the gem and the dop stick. You could use the accessories, but toothpicks are easy. Also I'm using the thick variety of the Star Bond glue. So I'm going to place some glue on the surface of the gem and then lock the dop stick on top so there's contact between the gem and the dop stick. So I'm going to run some glue along the sides of the dop stick and the surface of the gem also. So the glue isn't dry yet, so I'm going to just spray on a bit of this accelerator and see if it hardens up. So literally after a few seconds of applying the accelerator onto the glue, it instantaneously hardened up. So I'm going to do something I usually never do when it comes to faceting. If Starbond claim that this is a glue that's suitable for cutting gems with, then I really want to make sure I put it through its paces. So normally I make a preform and then I allow the glue to cure overnight on the dopstick. In this case I've only allowed about 5 minutes and then I've gone straight into grinding, and I'm using my 100 grit lap, the roughest lap that I own, because if anything will tear a gem off the dopstick, it's a really coarse lap like this. I'm going to be very heavy handed for those people who really are heavy on the hand also. So I've done the first quick rough out preform by directly placing the gem straight onto the dopstick, and things are looking pretty rough, in fact rough as Hessian underwear. So the next step will be to smooth things out, and I'll be using a 600 grit disc. I thought I'd mention also that typically in most of my videos I tend to prefer having my lap running at a slower speed when I'm grinding. In this video I'm running for the grinding process at a higher speed, at the highest speed I can on my particular machine. Running at a higher speed, in my opinion, would just test out the bond of the glue. From a faceting perspective, I like the slower speeds on my lap. This is a preferential thing because then I can just take my time. I'm in no rush. I don't feel that I need to complete a job within a certain time frame. As for me, this is more a hobby and an interest. Also, by nature, I tend to be a bit of a perfectionist, and the art form of faceting does require that type of personality where you're always chasing perfect meet points. Sometimes this is not achievable, as a mistake can literally happen within a blink of an eye, but if you're a perfectionist and you have perseverance and patience, then faceting should be right up your alley. Anyway, let's get back on track. As you can see in the following scenes, I've used a 600 grit diamond plated disc, gone over all those rough facets, cut the girdle outline, then I've gone over them quickly again with a worn out 800 grit disc, and then I'll go on to polishing all these facets, starting with the girdle and then completing the pavilion facets. So I'm going to go straight on to the final polish. So I'm using my Herco valve oil on a tin lap. And I find that with using this type of oil with the 50,000 diamond compound, it's quite grippy compared to other type of oils that you use, and it really cuts through all those minor scratches very quickly. I'm quite aware that there are quite a few facetors out there, and even on YouTube, that they will go through every little stage to get to the final polish by using these resin bonded laps, and they can cost you a fortune. And what I try to do is try to promote ways where there are affordable ways to get to the final outcome, and this is one way, in my opinion, that really offers a quick alternative. And what I've found with my own experience when it comes to pre-polishing and polishing, most of it is determined by your own technique. How fast do you run the lap? How much diamond powder do you apply to the lap? How much pressure do you apply to the lap? So it's not science-based, a lot of it. A lot of it depends on how good you are at understanding your own abilities. So we're on to the secondary transfer, and once again I've used the Star Bond super glue to glue the dop onto the other side of the gemstone, and in order to remove the original dop stick I'll be using heat. In this scene here, if you look closely, on the top dop I've actually broken the seal on the glue when I was faceting. This is not a very good thing to do when you're faceting because a dop can detach and yet the glue held on. So I'm ready to start faceting the crown, and I get the feeling by the look of this design, getting some of these meet points and getting the table to perfectly align will not be the easiest task, but let's see how I go. So while I'm preparing to cut the first tier of the crown facets, I thought I would offer a little bit of information about lemon quartz. This lemon quartz I have is totally natural, it's not irradiated. I know this because while I'm faceting, it's not chipping like irradiated quartz. Quite often when it comes to irradiated quartz, you'll notice little chips emerging even with a 1200 grit disc. So what causes this mineral to have this particular colour? Well, it's the minor deposits of iron oxide or iron hydroxide that's within the gem. Because of its beautiful luster, this mineral is primarily used as a gemstone. However, much of the purchasable lemon quartz that is out there is actually fired amethyst, which then appears an orangey yellow. It should be noted that the jewellery made from this lemon fired amethyst has a slight reddish tinge, and it will be most likely susceptible to chipping when faceting. So to cut the first set of crown facets quickly, I've used a 600 grit diamond lap. Then I'll move on to my worn 800, and from then on I'll be using my 3000 grit diamond lap to cut the remaining tiers of this crown. In this scene here I've cut the second tier of the crown facets with a 3000 grit diamond lap, and I'll do that with the third tier and the table facets also, because these are very small facets so I don't need to be grinding a lot away, and the 3000 diamond lap will behave as a really good pre-polish, and then I'll move on to the final polish as I did before using the tin lap with the 50,000 grit diamond compound. So I'm ready to remove the gem by heat using my handheld mini blowtorch, and I've wrapped the gem with a damp cloth. Usually I just use my fingers, but this gem is a little bit on the smaller side. Make sure when you're removing the gem you pull horizontally. You don't want to be twisting, else you may break or chip the culette. So the Starbond glue has proved quite stubborn to remove the gems, so I'll gently remove some of the glue on the outside of the dot with a heated scalpel. So removing the excess glue with the scalpel did the trick, and I reheated the dot again, pulling the gem cleanly off with the plug intact. You want that plug on the gem because that protects the gem when you're removing it by heat, so it won't chip. So into the acetone overnight so the glue dissolves. If I were to facet iolite or opal, I would use a different type of glue that would be easier to remove by heat, as this Starbond glue is super tough. So on to the final reveal. So here we have the final reveal, and overall I'm really happy with the outcome of the results. The most difficult part about this design was achieving really good meet points on the crown and getting that table, which resembles an eye, to align correctly, and I did all that, so that was my main objective. And not only that, I think this is a wonderful design. I would like to thank Starbond for giving me the opportunity to test out this particular super glue they sent me. It certainly lived up to the claims they said it would, and it held up well under quite a bit of duress. I like the idea also that I didn't have to add a binder like bicarb soda into the super glue, where the accelerator was just a great idea. Quickly sprayed on and it dried instantaneously. So if anyone is interested in trying out this Starbond glue, I'll leave a link in the description area. So until next time everybody, please leave comments, like and subscribe, and take care of yourselves. It's bye for now.